And I think now we can officially start with the top 5 builds. And again, what are we doing today? What is changing? We have 5 builds that Blizzard wants you to play. So if you're a rogue, they are giving you a set for barrage. If you're a barbarian, they give you a set for dust devil. And if you're necro, for minions, for druid, for pulverize, and for sorcerers, for incinerate. And you'll get this from the seasonal journey. Okay? So if you finish your seasonal journey, or whenever you pick up a cache, there will be items in there for that build. And even if you don't want to play that build while leveling, you're still going to get these items permanently. Because let's say you're playing druid, but you don't want to do pulverize yet. You will still get all the aspects, and all the aspects will still go into your Codex of Power. Right? We're going to have those in the first chapter. I think you're going to get them in the first probably 3 chapters, right? Because you're not going to get a full set of gear from one cache. But at least the gear that's completely useless before, because we know that, like, I mean, we know whatever comes out of this cache is shit, right? Whatever comes out of here is shit. But now with, like, I mean, the first step you can do in World Tier 2. The second step you can also do in World Tier 2 mostly. And for the third step, you actually get to be World Tier 3, right? Mostly. I think there was already something you had to do World Tier 3 for. It's like, yeah, reach level 35 was in here, so that was meant to be like kind of like World Tier 3 or World Tier 2. And then the fourth step was like, I think with like level 55. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of like, you know. So until level 55, you can probably do the first 4 steps, which will provide you with most gear for the respective build we're looking for. Which means that for the casual player, this is perfect. Right? I just don't want to leave Helltide to do this. I mean, if we're looking at the seasonal stuff that you had to do, it was mostly Codex of Power doing a dungeon, sure. Clear Stronghold, sure. Simple. Caches from Tyrus Whispers, you do that in Helltide as well. Defeat Malefice, well, they'll probably put a boss in there, right? Lead Constructs after completing or skipping the campaign. Should have that, something like that too, right? We have Vault Herald, Summon at Braziers. That's probably going to be Helltide related. But I can see them doing a lot of Helltide related stuff and Iron Wolf related stuff. So 8 the Iron Wolves. Do something in the Helltide. Defeat monsters while blood marked in hostile areas. That's also pretty simple. So these should be very easy to do while you're simply playing. Now, the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to do the Pulverize Druid. Because I think Pulverize is still very fun to play. And now that you're finally not struggling for the Pulverize aspect anymore. Because one thing they promised us, okay, Chad? And this is very important. There is no aspect that doesn't exist in the Codex of Powers. Because, you know, there used to be an aspect called Exposed Flesh. And Exposed Flesh was, like, you could only find it, correct? Ain't happening anymore. So these aspects like Shockwave. So the Shockwave aspect, the Pulverize aspect, you couldn't find in a dungeon. You had to find it. But the assumption is that the base Pulverize aspect has to be in the Codex of Powers, just like Exposed Flesh is. Only on a lower percentage value, because this says 120 to 200%. I'm pretty sure Pulverize is now currently at a lower percentage, because they essentially made every aspect weaker with the same ceiling. But you can, like, let's see, Bonebreaker. What's the Pulverize currently? Shockwave is called Shockwave aspect, right? Oh, that's Barbarian. Oops. Sorry. That's Necromancer. I'm so used to that. My reflexes are taking over. So we got Bonebreaker, and we would go for Shockwave aspect. It's actually at 140%. They buffed it. I'll be damned. They buffed it. Yeah, you'll be getting like the good old Shockwave aspect at 140% base already early. It's kind of nice. How you had to click 5 times to find the Druid? I honestly didn't look at the symbol. I just looked at my dudes, you know, because all my dudes look similar. See, that's first Necro, second Necro, third Necro, fourth Necro, like, right? They're the same female, male Necro. They all look the same. And it's not like that my actual druid looks like a druid, correct? Howdy. You look like Dark Cat's Eye. Greetings. Love the YouTube videos. Oh, don't worry. We'll keep pushing high quality as always. My question with season 4 is, did the Druid resource generation change? Because what Druid used to do is, Druid uses the aspect of the Umbral together with the damage of Earth Skilled slows enemies for 5 seconds, and this is creating infinite essence while leveling. Is that still a thing? Do you still do that? Right? You still do the Umbral combination? Because you could take a ring still, right? And you would take Umbral. Because Umbral is buffed up to 6 in the max roll. Wow, that's kind of nice. I didn't know that Umbral was going for 6 now. And then you have the slow still with the legendary aspect. So or skilled slows. So that was like your resource production. But I'm not sure if you still need that. Isn't it weird we didn't receive a campfire chat about the new season and a trailer video for it by now? You have both. Wait. Sorry if you missed it, but you have both. We had a fireside chat about the new season. That was this on May the 2nd, the last one. And the latest video about the new season was Inside the Game Loot Reborn. Plus the Loot Reborn itemization overhaul plus pit guide that just came out 3 days ago. So I'm not sure what you have missed, but everything is out. There's no season theme. Sorry, the loot is the season theme. You might have missed this. The season theme is the loot, the new tempering, the masterworking, the going on your gear, tempering, and I mean, chance for landslide projectiles to cast twice, boulder to cast twice, earth spike projectiles to cast twice, which is actually all a little bit sad because honestly, like none of these kind of works for pulverize. The only thing that works for pulverize at this point was you had pulverize size, but that's a big because I mean like do you really need pulverize size when your pulverize is we receive a game fix as a season theme? I wouldn't call it a game fix. I mean, this is a complete revamp at this point. I mean, this is my pulverized size already. I'm not sure where I would need more. Correct? What we really need more. It's actually for the original pulverize, not even the shockwave. See, then it does make no sense at all. I mean, I guess for me personally, you get storm finesse, you get the shape-shifting finesse, so you could do werebear overpower damage, probably. That would count as a offensive tempering. If you do one offensive tempering, then you can do no more offensive tempering. So you had that, and then you could do Grizzly Rage duration. I think these are the two that make sense. Wow, you can get 170% overpower damage bonus. That's crazy because you get like, if you get the overpower damage bonus, like you can get a casual overpower already, right, of 120% in non-masterworked. So this is like non-masterworked. Your weapon alone can have 300% plus the implicit. So like a druid weapon currently has what? Almost 400% overpower, and it's not even masterworked yet. Oh, and you know what the coolest part is? You can get max life, right? So here, this is what you could do on an item. Ta-da! I'm not sure you want Grizzly Rage durations. Makes sense because if you want Grizzly Rage, you can easily have almost 100% uptime anyways. I concur. First and foremost, there is just nothing else, right? Okay, so Grizzly Rage duration, but pulverized size, maul size doesn't make sense. Hurricane doesn't make sense. Double cast doesn't make sense. You could go for the lucky hit cast, but they lowered the damage, right, of the elemental surge. So that damage is lowered. We don't know how much. but you don't have any other thing that makes much sense. Or pulverize. Especially considering that, again, a 50% Grizzly Rage duration is going to give you... where were we? Grizzly Rage here. So we would be going up to 30 seconds Grizzly Rage. Right? I mean, I like the idea of having Grizzly Rage just be permanent easily. Right? I mean, if I'm running around 30 seconds in Grizzly Rage and I get 3% more damage every second I'm in Grizzly Rage, that's kind of cute, especially with a standard, with a complete fortify, right? I mean, if you're running around in Grizzly Rage, you fortify permanently. And I have 24,000 life, correct? But I have 24,000 life, and this is season 3. That's a joke, Chad. This is a joke. When I can currently, like, we can do like 2, 3, 4 million overpowers, which is actually weak. But I can have maximum life on my freaking weapon. That's intriguing, right? My question is rather, what do we do for essence production? Because did you know that gear can have essence per second now? It's one of my favorite things. Like the modifier resource per second. I know that spirit per second, yeah. So you can get spirit per second on your boots. I don't think you can get it on the gloves or on the chest. You can get it on the chest usually, right? Spirit per second. And you could get it on the amulet as well, if I'm not completely mistaken. No, that was spirit on kill. So you could already get 10 spirit per second. Just like that. Right? Kind of cute. I like it. Getting random spirit per second. just for existing, right? Would resource gen FX buff an essence per second FX? Yes. I mean, resource gen hires your resource generation, every kind of resource generation. So if you have your regenerate, if you have a percentual bonus of resource gen, then it buffs everything. So if you go on your ring and for the tempering, and we got obviously the bunch of offensive temperings, right? That would increase our damage. So like just earth damage increase or earth overpower damage. Probably would go for earth overpower damage to go for the maximum. You have werebear. Wait, is werebear overpower damage higher than earth overpower damage? It would make life probably easier to just go for werebear overpower damage, but technically you don't have to. And then you would go for resource. You got here resource cost and resource generation. If you go for resource generation, then every resource you get, every percentage value of resource you get bonus resourced is working towards your general resource generation. So if you would have a skill like exposed flesh, would here second ring, and that ring would now have exposed flesh on it. Does Druid even have exposed flesh? No, Druid doesn't even have exposed flesh, right? Exposed flesh, Necromancer only. It's Necromancer only. The Umbra actually here. So you get 6 essence per crowd control, and that 6 essence per crowd control is also more with resource generation. Can Helmet have spirit per second too? Helmet? I do like the spirit per second thingy, but I was always like, I'd rather have a production like Ring of the Umbral, because that worked way too good together with the boots to just ignore that. But what I haven't actually checked is how a season 4 pulverized druid would currently look in general, right? So you could play the Wild Heart's Hunger, but I simply don't like the boots. I don't like the idea of the boots, right? But it's cool because when you shapeshift into a werewolf or a werebear, you gain Wild Heart for 5 seconds. And Wild Heart grants you increased damage every 2 seconds, stacking 20 times. What I don't understand is it says when you shapeshift, you gain Wild Heart for 5 seconds. So in order to keep the Wild Heart buff up, right, I would have to consistently shapeshift all the time to keep Wild Heart up. Because if it's it's only for 5 seconds. And every 2 seconds it stacks. But in order to keep it up, I would have to then pulverize, wind shear, pulverize, wind shear, pulverize, wind shear, pulverize, wind shear, pulverize, wind shear to just keep it up. That's what I really, 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 really dislike. Right? Because it's just like this going back and forth, going back and forth, going back and forth. That's boring. I mean, see, if I want to play, when I play my Druid, I just want to do this and then do this. And since there's multiple targets, I just want to do that. Right? I don't want to wind shear, pulverize, wind shear, pulverize, wind shear. Yeah. So I'm probably a bit boring there. Fastest level build for Necro is everything with minions. Do you even need Insatiable Fury still? Because Insatiable Fury is such a cool item. It just gives you... Right? It just gives you the damage, the overpower, and everything. And it can actually be greater affixes, right, on this one. Greater affixes is kind of nice. And it gives you still damage reduction, and damage reduction sucks to actually get. What do you get for temperings? What do you get for normal temperings on a Druid? What do you get? Get Cyclone Armor cooldown, Bulwark cooldown, Cyclone Armor size, Bulwark duration, Blood Howl cooldown reduction, Debulating Roar cooldown reduction, duration up. What's Nature's Resolve again? I need to look at it. It's been a while. What skill was Nature's Resolve on the Druid for multiple things? Crushing Earth, Safeguard. I want Nature's Resolve. I want to know what that one does. Haven't played Druid in too much. Which skill is Nature's Resolve on a Druid? Holy, it's been a while. That was chance to struck when fortified for base life. That's stupid. Lavello, that doesn't matter. Just enjoy your time. Get maximum life, total armor, dodge chance. Oh, you get attack speed. Cool for your... Wait, what? You can just get utility aspects for attack speed? See, that seems like scam. That utility would boost your damage. Yeah. Interestingly enough, if you take a utility tempering that has a lucky hit chance to freeze enemies, correct? On top of the slow that you actually do, you should technically umbral and get more essence, shouldn't you? How much lucky hit chance did Pulverize have? Such a shitty lucky hit chance that I'm not even want to consider that ever again. So the only tempering I would go for on a Druid is... I mean, either the Roar duration or the cooldown. What did we use Roar again? We used Roar for damage dealt and fortify and slow, which gives you essence back as well. So cooldown? Because duration doesn't make sense. You want to have it more often. That means for a chest, you really want Insatiable Fury still, because it actually isn't that much better. Interesting. I thought like for a chest, like there might be so many better choices to be had, but they're not. The Druid choices are kind of sad. Yeah, Debilitating Roar is good defense, but it's like I don't need it. Like when I'm looking at the Druid here right now, what I have and what I want, like I guess it's still better to have the Insatiable Fury. And the same goes kind of for Lex, because with the Lex you have T-Bold's Will, right? Where it's only 20% more damage, but you still have the 50% resource. You have the damage. You have the damage reduction from close enemies. The only thing you wouldn't get is another 1000% life plus, because alternative, again, if you choose to go for a normal piece of pens that's not T-Bolt's Will, right? You could add maximum life of 800 and then masterwork or temper that. You could go for bonus armor if you need it. You could go for willpower, and willpower is essentially more overpower and more damage in your case, so it's a double, right? You can have the resistance to all elements. Claw, Stormpike, Wind Shear, Maul. Nothing crazy actually to put on there. So you're probably on pans. I'd be fine with T-Bolt's Will still. It's kind of sad because you would be like wanting to have like useful affixes, useful aspects on it. But you wouldn't need anything. Is there new aspects for Druid that I missed about? Not really. We need at least one enemy with the Maul. Increase its attack speed by if you gain 10 damage reduction for 5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. But then I would have to maul people. I don't want to maul people. Nothing too interesting. Intriguing. Yeah. I mean, you could go for the dazed, I guess, to daze people, but I'm not a fan of Lucky Hit anymore. Oh, it means anymore. I just want to like ignore Lucky Hit as much as I can. Can't wait for the 14s. Oh, the 14s is definitely gonna be interesting. Spans more damage. I mean, right now, like I feel like these two uniques are just too good to ignore. I mean, on the gloves, you obviously want to do the tempering again, because the gloves could be earth damage or overpower damage or werebear overpower damage. So you could just straight up get another 85% overpower damage, and I think you could probably go for overpower damage as well. So like, right, you can get another 140% overpower already added. How much overpower do we have here in this form? To be like, we only have 2,500 overpower. Weak as hell. We're partnered with Staff for pulverize Druid. Yeah, but you can compensate for a lot. D-pad, thank you very much for the Prime subscription. What you have to consider is, yes, overpower was nerfed, but again, the weapon here, 105% overpower, 120% overpower, and 170% overpower from werebear overpower damage. Then again, 60% overpower damage, maximum life, right? Plus critical strike damage, critical strike chance. I know you probably want the core skill, right? Here, 1 to 2 ranks to core skills, because everything is no 2 ranks, 3 ranks to pulverize. Yeah. So this is probably what you want, right? Life, overpower, maximum. Because I have, again, I have 24,000 life. Like, right? I have 24,000 life. And these are 4% maximum life gems. What was it again on the test server? Was it 6 or 9%? They buffed the rubies to... Rubies is at 9%? I'm not sure how to add gems here. Rubies... Ruby isn't a ruby at this point at 9%. Yeah. So like, I mean, consider that we are currently at 24,000 life, and only if I would change the rubies, I have 5 rubies in. That means like my 5 rubies together is currently 20% more life. And if they are at 9%, you're like, yeah. Yeah. So that's 5 times 9%. We're 45% instead of just 20% increase. Nice, isn't it? So alone that will vastly increase your life straight out of the house. And then like they not only increase that, they also on the weapon, if you now socket them in, I think did they increase the overpower damage amount? The Royal Rubies is now 54%. I think the overpower amount wasn't increased, if I'm not mistaken. Because currently, no, we're getting 24%. Yeah, we're getting 24% here. Huh? And this is 54% there. Cool. So yeah, sure, things get nerfed a bit, but my ring that can have the maximum life if I wanted to, right? Then it can also have overpower damage, another 60%, followed up by, what do we want for a third stat on ring? Anyone? You could go for spirit on kill. You can go for resource cost reduction if that is what you want, right? If you want to spend more net total on every single slam down you're doing. Or you could just go for 25% bonus damage or critical strike chance to then do the overpower crits, even though we're probably not going to go for overpower crits because the Banished Lord's Talisman is sadly not as good as it used to be. I mean, it's still fine, but I feel like you're better off using a different aspect than that, to be honest. So you're probably going to be like just adding another 25% damage if you want to. And then you get your restore, and you don't even have your tempering done, right? Because now your ring that does your overpower can obviously get another 85% overpower. And like, we haven't mentioned this, right? But you can masterwork this 12 times, which makes your, again, this is like a standard, right? You have an 85% overpower, but if you masterwork it, it's 123%. Oh, and then you could critical strike that 3 times, so you could get 200% overpower on a ring. On a ring. Yeah. I mean, your weapon the same, right? If you masterwork this 12 times and you hit it twice, you can get 300% overpower. Yes, overpower was nerfed, but heard it's faster. I would enjoy longer leveling just so I can enjoy the new itemization changes. Useless. Because the itemization changes are for endgame. So the itemization changes are not for early game. No one, like, right? So it's useless. So right now we are already at 1,000% overpower damage, chat. Okay, 1,000% without having done any skill. Okay, so we are at 1,000 normal overpower damage bonus from chest, hand, main hand, armor, blah. And there's 340% is currently from Werebear, right? And we haven't even put our second ring on if we do want that. So again, the leveling is meant for leveling and yellow gear. But you want to essentially get the 925 gear as soon as possible to really then enjoy the new itemization changes. The itemization changes are for endgame. Can tempering fail and destroy the piece? So what happens when tempering fails is you have five temperings that you can do. The first 2 temperings are for free. So if I take an item like this ring and I choose tempering, now I want to get the Werebear overpower tempering on, right? Then I'll temper until I have this. The first time I try is for free. Then I'll temper another 3 times and I have 2 temper durability left on the item. Good. Now I would like to get, on top of the Werebear overpower damage, I would like to temper for... What's a Wrath skill? What's a Wrath skill? Trample is a Wrath skill. Interesting. So then I would like to temper Wrath skill gives me primary resource, right? So if I now then go for casting Wrath skill restores 10 or 14 primary resource as well, that would then take me another... I try to roll it. I don't get it. The first one is for free. And then I only have 2 temperings left to do it. And if I then don't get it, then the item is broken and I would have to find a new item. Because if you're out of tempering durability, you're out. How low can you make the cooldown of trample? Can you reduce the trample cooldown further? Because if we're in bear form and the trample would give us resource, right? Would it be worth it to even consider? Can you reduce the trample cooldown? Because I'm not sure if casting wrath skills would ever be worth it tempering wise, right? I don't see that being useful from a temporary standpoint. Would you temper while leveling? As far as I understand, there's no upgrading weapon, no more just masterworking, but you can do that with mats from the pit. No, I wouldn't temper while leveling very much because you're just going to be swapping your gear still very quick. I would start with tempering probably from level 60 on. I played already, so I leveled already from level 1 to 65 in like 4 hours, which is really fast. But I wouldn't no temper in any way very much. What's clarity and abundance on the druid? How have I forgotten half like the druid skills? Clarity was spirit when transforming into human form, that's useless. And abundance was? Oh, that was basic skills generate more spirit. Yeah, that was scam. They're actually all scam. Like, it's surprising they're all scam. The only one that's good is ultimate skills restore 45 resource if you want to spend that. But I would probably go for resource cost reduction. I just don't see another tempering being good apart from resource cost reduction. I mean, you want to be like, you want to just have either resource generation to get more resource, or you want to just probably resource generation. Let's go for resource generation. That would make more sense. And currently I'm playing Mother's Embrace. I like Mother's Embrace because they actually buffed Mother's Embrace. But the problem is, like, look, if you look at Mother's Embrace right now, right, it's all stats, critical strike damage, lucky hit chance, and maximum life. Which is cool, correct? And you get resource back, which is also cool. Like, if you had four enemies, right, like, and then you get resource refunded, that's kind of neat. So you can essentially just, like, pulverize more, right? Like you can go, and then you can pulverize more, and that's kind of, like, nice. But the reality is that, as nice as that is, but getting like an 85% overpower damage together with another 60% overpower damage and another like thousands of life plus. Yeah, like right, alone this masterwork is another 200% overpower plus, and the other one is another 200% overpower plus as well. So it's a little bit. We've been through the Necro leveling build. No, we're doing Druid very relaxed right now first. Then we're going to do, when we got pulverized Druid to make, we have the Necromancer, we have the Dust Devil Barbarian is essentially like, there's not much variation there, right? That build is kind of made. For Druid, I'm just like wanting to think a little bit about the new things you have, the other options. What if you don't want to restore your essence with this kind of stuff? Right? It's always the question, what if you do not want to reset, restore your essence like that? Trample now summons 6 landslides posts of Earth during duration. It was now not nature magic and Earth skills. Yeah, we're not going to do that. We're still going to play around with the, what is called the Earth spikes, right? On pulverize. Was it pulverize? Here, the pulverize is an Earth skill after casting pulverize tectonic spikes. So you need pulverize to be an Earth skill, so that pulverize would work together with Earth skills, with slow, and then, you know. Going for Barb or Necro this season, I do definitely want to try out Druid, because I just want to see how far you can go overpower-wise. But what for ranks do you do on a... What for ranks do you do on the Amulet if you don't play... Is there a decent bonus rank for Druid on the Amulet? Because usually I would go for the legendary amulet, the unique one. But they nerfed the Banished Lord's Talisman to a 60% increase, which is still good, don't get me wrong. But you're essentially just getting 42 overpower, 12 resource generation, critical strike chance, and 1 to core skills, right? It's kind of sad. Since the tempering, again, here could provide us on the amulet. What do we have? So if we want to, we can do another 85% overpower damage, right? If we want to. You could be going for... Wow, Trample has a cooldown reduction of 10% if you want to. That's a mobility. Wait, can I do that on boots? I need to check out that. Did you check that out in a second? That's interesting. You can go for more resource stuff, right? Like here, we could go for another resource generation. Alone this, right? And then if I wanted to, I could add another... Oh, Overpower actually doesn't go on the amulet. Interesting. I thought Overpower would go on the amulet as well. But we're not getting that. We're getting movement speed only. But maximum resource if I wanted to, which is kind of like not what I'm looking for in any way. Is there any passive that you really want? I mean, what passives are we playing for the Druid, for the Overpowered Druid that is doing something for it? I was having, what was the mending? That was, while in werebear form, you receive additional healing. That was, you get the Overpower. But I don't think there's ever bonus ranks in Provocation, right? With Crushing Earth, we have Stone Guard. The Stone Guard was more damage, and Safeguard was more Fortify. And then you had here, like, Defiance for Nature Skills, increased damage. Relates. You have Natural Disaster, you have Resonance. And you get... Oh, you get Circle of Life to heal yourself. That's actually kind of fun. So you could just heal yourself more? Or what? You go for ranks into... When you get Defiance, you get Disaster, you get Resonance, you get... What's crushing? Nature's Rage. Not sure which one you even want there, right? Is there a benefit to average player of running Gauntlet XP drops? I mean, as an average player, if you want to run the Gauntlet, you just do it for doing it, and that's it. But like, because you want to be cool. But no, there's technically never, like, the only reason to run the Gauntlet is because you just want to see how well does your build actually do. Does whatever you cooked up, right? Does whatever you cooked up, does that do good? Is that kind of cool? Are you going crazy? Is it nice? Like, is what you thought out, is that gonna work? Can you get top 100 with it? That's kind of like the basic idea behind that. I mean, right now I would probably go for ranks and wild impulse, because that would directly boost our core skill damage the most. Because if you go for your core skills cost more spirit, but that doesn't matter because we can do resource generation, right? But deal 15% increase more damage. I mean, this is a 5% damage increase, right? So every rank is a 5% damage increase. Sure, you would make your skills more expensive, but technically that would be the only one I kind of want. I wrote, thank you for the 76 centuries of support. Tarbert, good to see you there. Pleasure. Hope we're doing well. Movement speed, because Druid is like slow as fuck. Right? When you could technically go for Defiance, where you just do more damage to elites. I mean, Natural Disaster is... I mean, Natural Disaster is also nice, because Natural Disaster would allow you to... since like you get, what do you get? Another 4%. You would get another 8% more damage. Right? Wild Impulse is bugged. It's additive. Is it still additive even in season 4? Shoddington? That's the question. I don't know. You know, I haven't unlashed my Druid in a while. So the question rather is, would this, if I have this with a plus 85% more damage, do more damage than the 60% multiplier on the overpower? Right? Because you have the 12.5% resource generation, correct? You have the 85% overpower damage, but this is only 42. And the only thing you're missing is the core skill and the critical strike chance, but you would be getting disaster in that. And you still have an aspect that you could actually put on the amulet. Well, I've actually never looked into Druid and Druid aspects on amulets. That's a very good question. Does Druids have anything like really cool to put on amulets? Does Druid have anything like super amazing that they put on amulets that then slaps hard? Or is the only reason that we play Banished Lords because Druid kind of stinks? Right? Never looked into that. When you have the weird ass lens slide that you could add, Nurcom doesn't work. Wait, do you have your core skills deal more damage based on your amount of fortify? Well, I guess that's what we could play in this build. I wonder if we would do 45% damage increase based on your fortify, or we would be doing is that an offensive skill? That's an offensive skill. Or you would do like a 60% multiplier. Like, I guess that's it. You can masterwork uniques. Yes, you can masterwork uniques, but if you're looking at this unique masterwork, it's still like going to give only +2 ranks into core skills, unless so if you would get this one into a greater affix, it could be interesting. But no matter what, the 60% on the thing is the 60%. The 45% gets multiplied by 1.5. No. So you can't masterwork this. So you can't masterwork the aspect, and you can't greater affix the aspect, or you can't masterwork the affix, right? You can only masterwork what you have here. So for example, if I would hit the natural disaster, I could get it 4 ranks up. Or if I hit it like, see, I could get these by 1 rank up, and I could get the overpower up to 144%, or the resource generation to 22. So this is what you could get up with a masterwork. You look for the Banished Lord's Talisman, and I would actually masterwork that 12 times, right? You get over 60%. If I then get the core skills 3 times hit, I could go from 2 to 3. So I would have to hit that perfectly 3 times hit to actually get that up. The critical strike stance is only 4% more. The overpower is only 30% more, which is kind of weak. And the resource generation also is actually less than it would be on the normal item. So yeah, they really trashed Banished Lord's Talisman in comparison, if you look at it that way. Can you get greater affix on the core skill ranks? You can get greater affix on everything. You can even get the triple greater affix, right? So if you have the Banished Lord's Talisman and you would get a greater affix on the core skill rank, and then you masterwork it, and then you would hit the masterwork actually 3 times, it's still like only +3. Right? So that's where I'm like really tending to this, and since I would want to have fun, I would probably go for the Grizzly Rage duration. Right now the main idea would be like just have Grizzly Rage just happening forever, with the tempering on resource costs, like resource generation, and resource generation, like very good amount of resource generation. Then you have like even more overpower damage. I mean, currently we're again at the like already multiple hundreds % of overpower. But the tempering for boots, yeah, this is what I wanted to know, because I haven't looked at the utility tempering. So utility. And you can actually get trample cooldown reduction. That's kind of cute. I mean, end of the day, like, is trample cooldown reduction of 10% really worth it? On the one hand, why not? It's down to 12 seconds, right? I mean, trample gives you 40 spirit if you need it. So why not? Why not? Blind, thank you for the subscription. Thanks for being the brand new supporter. Appreciate it. I mean, they're talking about reworking uniques, and I do think uniques definitely need to be adapted stat-wise. Because the Banished Lord's Talisman having only 42%, yes, it's 4 stats, while a normal item has 60%, just feels kind of weak, correct? The same goes for resource generation. If I have resource generation on a normal item, it's already at 12.5%, and this is only 12%. It just, why is it not 12.5% by base, right? It's kind of like, that makes no sense. We would have the boots can have spirit per second. The boots can have maximum life. I mean, every item needs to have maximum life. There's like no question asked about that. We can, you can get ranks and trample. Cool. On the boots. I'm not sure if that's would ever be useful, to be honest. You should probably just randomly get more willpower. But if you really want to get the most thing out, you should probably get more willpower. And the second tempering, wow, Druid really has only shitty temperings. Is that it? It's really shitty. Because after you actually get the mobility tempering up, the utility temperings, they suck. Right? You can wolves, ravens, poison creepers, and that's it. Then you have thorns, crowd control duration, and barrier. And then you have a lucky hit chance to freeze. Oh, that's a stinker. No wonder I'm just slapping on like unique item after unique item, correct? Because I'm really not interested in this. They should look like sad. Because barrier generation, like I don't do barrier. The only thing is crowd control duration potentially, or the lucky hit chance to freeze. So you would have more for the Ring of Umbral. You could probably try out like the stun or the freeze just to have like another source of crowd control. What I would find interesting is the slow that you could lucky hit. Okay, chat? Is the slow that you could lucky hit overworking the slow that you do from your boots? So if I do an instance of slow from the boots, right? But then I override the slow with the lucky hit slow. With the slow from the lucky hit, override the slow from the boots to essentially still give me a resource. That's the question I need to ask. Because it has the highest lucky hit chance of 30%, because the rest kind of like stinks. Then you get T-Bolt's Will, you get your gloves that have Werebear Overpower damage. And afterwards, you're kind of relegated to a utility on that one as well. Sadness. Which brings me to the question again, ladies and gentlemen. What if I stack them all up? So does this, like if I have a 30 and a 30% chance to slow, it's not one instance. It's like it goes up to a 60% chance. But what if I do this on 3 items? Do I get a 100% chance to slow with my lucky hits? Because that would then make it worth it. Like if I can stack these up, okay? Assuming I could stack these up to stun or slow, right? Anything like that. It would stack up with Earthen Bulwark. Nah, like, so Earthen Bulwark wouldn't work for this build because, like, I would do this. And then I would live in bear form. So the whole plan with this build currently would be to live in the bear form. I mean, again, the bear form is 12 seconds long. The bear form is 12.5 seconds long. You could enhance the duration by 8 seconds over the Grizzly Rage, right? And it increases your critical strike damage by 10% for the duration up to a maximum of 200%, right? And since we increase the critical strike damage, you would then have like the 8-second increase, and then you would increase the duration by another 50 seconds. So you would be permanently in there. You would never leave it. But you can use Vasili's Helmet, then you could use it in bear form. Where's Vasili's? I've never used that helmet. Maybe I've never had it. So Vasili's prayer was, your earth skills are now also werebear skills and fortify you. I mean, if you take into consideration that your earth skills are werebear skills and they would fortify you, then you could probably use Earthen Bulwark. I do agree with you. And then you are right. It would make sense to consider a barrier generation tempering, because Bulwark obviously rocks surround you 3 seconds, grounding your barrier that absorbs base life and damage. So if we do get more barrier, then that would be good. But can it actually do more barrier? Because it does granting your barrier that absorbs of your base life in damage. Does barrier generation improve this? Because it's base life in damage, but does barrier generation increase the barrier here? Because technically the value is limited. I've never tried barrier generation. Right? So does barrier generation actually do that for that item? That's a good question. I mean, let's assume it would do it. Then barrier generation would make sense and facilities would make sense too. And I would be happy with this build. Yeah. That would make me very happy. Just from like a tempering, like obviously the skill tree we still have to make. So the skill tree we're gonna make in peace. I mean, right now I just want to do the equipment standpoint of all the temperings and everything. Yeah, that looks good. And I would be very happy with this. I mean, that would be uniques, right? But the thing is, like, now comes the question. So we just made this pulverized druid, correct? And we technically need the quicksand. We have Years in Horror, and we have the aspect of the Umbral. They're kind of like the key pieces. Now, we do know that Blizzard gives us pulverize equipment from the seasonal journey, correct? But what equipment is that we get from the seasonal journey? Because only we think that this is how an overpowered druid should work to a degree. But does Blizzard agree? Right? What if Blizzard's opinion is that we all stink and we should shut our stupid pie holes? But still, let's look at this. We have 1,200 overpower damage, right? I mean, my main hand is giving us currently a 500% overpower damage bonus in total. Right? 120, 105, 170, and 54 and 54. We now masterwork that 12 times. We're already at a nice and even squeezy, right? 1281 overpower damage bonus, in total 1,700. So without a single glyph, without a single point in Paragon, right? Without anything, like we don't even have the dominate glyph in yet, correct? We don't have the overpower boosted by another 400%. We're currently sitting comfortably at 1,600 overpower. With like max life on our boots, max life on our weapon, max life on our gloves, max life on our ring, max life on our freaking other ring. So we get like maximum life everywhere and maximum life on the helmet. Does it show like it says we have 16,000 maximum life currently without like having like, let me slap rubies in all these shitters just to see, like, again, without a single paragon point, like we're 20,000 max life, right? Without having masterworked anything. So that's 21,652 max life currently. Not a single greater affix, not a single item, right? Masterworked. Like if we obviously masterwork then everything, the max life we have tremendously. That's 24,000 already, right? We're 25,000. Where's more max life on this side? So you can see how our max life is just going higher tremendously without having a single greater affix roll at 0 efforts. And no points like right now put in, correct? So we still have to put our points in the Paragon board. That gives like how much, like that's something to not forget, right? So the Paragon board provides us alone with another 8% max life, correct? then you get like more damage in the werebear form, and we probably have way more, like another huge amount of overpower damage here, right? And we get more maximum life probably on more. I don't even know where all the maximum life was, right? I mean, that's 24,000 here with everything. And I have here in the planner 21,000 without anything. Plus, if we would actually have the Grizzly Rage active, right? Gain 8% of your maximum life as fortified per second. You're essentially permanently fortified forever. So that's where I find pulverize kind of like fun. Like the basic idea of pulverize, I think, is very cool. So this is going to be our base pulverize. Now let's open another page of the planner. And I think we're going to do the Necromancer for you quick for the people that have been asking that want to see this. I mean, we're definitely going to be doing like the golem with Army of the Dead probably. So that's going to be that. Most likely. Yeah, the Shadow Blight one. So what you would do is you would take a two-handed weapon. Actually, it's going to be a two-handed sword. Because there's a difference between a two-handed sword and a two-handed thingy. And we would probably go for... critical strike damage. It's a must. And we would go for golem damage, because the golem damage goes up to 210%. It's just stupid, right? It's just like, hey, so how about 210%? No? Cool. You probably temper minion attack speed just to not give a flying fart anymore. And then we would be going for unyielding. Was it unyielding commander on our weapon? I think it was unyielding commander, which is another 200% damage boost. What we're currently doing is the golem minion mix necro, I know. Does bows. Actually, for that, we would need the blighted aspect here, not Army of the Dead. Oops, sorry. I lied to you, Chan. That'd be the blighted aspect for 240% bonus shadow damage increase. And you would go for critical strike damage. You would go for... attack speed. And you would go for intelligence. Why that? Because 30% attack speed on you is 30% attack speed on your minions. And if you get attack speed on the weapon, and if you get that on your minions, if I then go on my gloves, and I put on the runic gloves, and I do for the aspect of the frenzied dead, that's going to be 45% here, correct? And then you have your item that then you have your demon blade that currently has 50 and 20, and you're essentially at 100% attack speed cap done. Boogie Boogie, I still prefer the sword. Thank you, though. Like, sure, you could take a size for the slower attack speed to then have a better, higher damage max. And you would actually get life on kill, which is not horrible, because this life on kill, if you do actually play the temerity pens, which I've been experimenting with, does overheal you for Barrier. That's actually not bad, right? You can do it. I will tell you, though, I still prefer having a sword. Mainly because the sword actually does look cooler, right? I mean, the same reason why I hate a club on this character, because a club just looks shitty. But it is what it is. But a sword just looks cooler. For instance, Assault attack speed is also different attack speed bucket. It goes past the 100%. No one, like, it's not about 100%. Like, there is no 100% attack speed cap. The 100% attack speed cap we're mentioning is Cult Leader. Cult Leader. Cult Leader doesn't go over 100%. So you kind of do 100%. We could go for a normal pants currently that would get hardened bones, which is a damage reduction of up to 25%, which is kind of nice. And as a tempering, we would still do the corpse tendril size, because corpse tendril size is absolutely beautiful. nothing more beautiful to making everything more big more. It's interesting though that the thing is bugged now and doesn't let me temper anything else after corpse tendrils. It's quite intriguing. No, I wanted to do some more. Like, you know, after that, you should be able to do another utility tempering. Do the utility corpse tendril size here. Because for some reason you have a utility corpse tendril size and you have a defense corpse tendril size. Because why not? Why would you not have everything at the same time, right? By the way, let me... Could you let me choose that? Okay. I mean, Maxwell, I don't like your website already, but make me like it less by the minute. Wow, you're wasting my time. I hate you. 25% DR is insane, actually. It is. It is. You and your minions gain 25% DR. This is for every Necro. Igazin, welcome back for your 16 months of support. Appreciation, brother. Happy to have you there for such a long time. Fat and also, good to see you there. If you're stacking attack speed, what build are we going for? We're not stacking attack speed. We're just making sure to at least have 100% attack speed for the golems. Because what you're going for 100% is you're going for Cult Leader. And Cult Leader is giving you 30% bonus damage for each 20% of attack speed up to 100% bonus. Now, the faster your minions hit, the more damage they do anyways, because they just hit more and do more damage. But you kind of like, you want to at least reach the 100%. And you want to reach the 100%, which I was using Kalen's Edict, or Kalen's Edict. I don't even know how Kalen's Edict. I think that's how you pronounce it. Because if you don't need Kalen's Edict, then you can actually use this one. It's great, right? Which will be needed for our other stuff anyways. So we get Hardened Bones on here, and we get this one. I mean, like, currently corpse tendril size. And you could actually play around with essence per second. Was essence per second available on pens? No, essence per second wasn't. Oh wait, is it meant as essence per second in here? No. I mean, like, one thing we don't know is, so they removed the Golem Mastery from pens, most likely. And they probably also removed the Skeleton Mage Mastery and the Skeleton Warrior Mastery. So we can't actually work with those anymore, which is a little bit sad because it was like really, really fun to have them all on. I think right now you're kind of like within max life and max armor, and even armor. That's like the only thing, or probably like one all resistance roll, probably something in this direction. It's kind of like what you're relegated to, because they took our masteries away, which does lower our all damage, but it still allows us to do more damage since we get like the huge amount of intelligence. What I've been asking myself is, Yen's Blessing ever worth it? Because casting a skill has a 30% chance to cast a non-mobility, non-ultimate skill that is currently on cooldown. If you use your golem, correct, Chan? If you use your golem and you use Yen's Blessing, then technically Yen's Blessing should allow you to randomly cast your golem, correct? That was the basic thought on Yen's Blessing. Or you would use Flicker Step to essentially do more damage with your ultimate. Because I've always been a fan of Flicker Step to just like Flicker Step through your enemies. Since it's another 14% damage reduction, but you essentially just Flicker Step through your opponents and your Army of the Dead cooldown goes down. But on this build, one thing we also do need is Runic Cleats. And then I've been playing with Aspect of the Void because it makes Blight very mean. Makes Blight very mean. Makes you a very mean person too. And then you can get probably a evade cooldown reduction or more movement speed. Just more footwork, more energy. And more corpse tendril size. What is no good Necro build use shields? Oh, the answer is pretty simple. The damage of your minions scales of your basic weapon damage as well. If you have a one-handed weapon, your minions will always do lower damage. If you have a two-handed weapon, your minions will do more damage because they multiply off, well, your weapon damage. Right? And that's why most use a two-handed weapon Yes, most Necro builds actually did use the Litless Wall. The problem is that if you're using the Litless Wall right now, you're missing out on temperings too, because like that, you'd rather make sure to somehow get yourself up to a resistance without needing anything, right? There we go for Cult Dominion for Skeletal Warriors. So we have like attack speed, more Skeletal Mages, more Skeletal Warriors, Hardened Bones for the damage reduction, Blight pulls in people. So you have the aspect of the Void to pull people in together. And your temperings are still going to be corpse tendril size up to a size of 100% because they set the size thingy is limited to a 100% now. So if you have corpse tendril size of boots and pants already, that's 80%. And if you then masterwork this 12 times, we're already at the 100% limit. I think they set 100% limit, right? So we can't make it bigger. There's not more big. There's a limitation how more big it can get. There's a more big limitation. No more big. Listen. Okay. What you could alternatively do is you could put points into Crippling Darkness, which is actually really cool because Crippling Darkness does give you more damage for free. And skeletons use the thorn buff from gear. See, the problem is that thorns are still weirdly working weird because you actually do have the skeletal warriors inherit your thorns, right? But if my minions have 100% of my stats, why do they not have 100% of my thorns? Why would I have to go into thorns? So the question is, what the fuck, Blizzard, is wrong with you? Thank you for listening to my what the fuck, Blizzard, is wrong with you talk, because this is annoying, since the mere increase of thorns should already do what I needed to do. Right? Right? But it doesn't. Okay, Decrepify size. Just to have a bigger Decrepify for console players. And the chest can actually have ranks and corpse explosion and essence per second, which is kind of cute. But I don't think the chest can have any more mastery skills. So all the mastery skills get actually kind of like removed from the chest, which is really sad. And now you're kind of like stuck with like Blood Mist bonus ranks, which kind of, or Corpse Explosion bonus ranks, but you actually don't need the Corpse Explosion bonus ranks, right? So you're kind of at like essence per second, probably. And you do also need the intelligence and the maximum life. It's gotten a bit boring. As you can see, like it's like maximum life, intelligence, maximum life, critical strike chance, critical strike damage. So you're kind of like back to the normal boring stats. I mean, plus the tempering. But since they took our very cool ranks away that we could have, right? They took our fun ranks away that we could use to actually boost our mages and our warriors. It's gotten a little bit like, so, you know, what are we going to do again? We're just going to boost the standard boring shebang. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be sitting there to just boost the standard boring stuff to survive. That's a bit of a sadness. By the way, what could we temper on gloves? On gloves? Oh, golem damage. Yeah, I forgot. What are we tempering on gloves? It is golem damage, which is crazy because you have 200% golem damage here, and then you have 100% golem damage there. And I think, if I'm not completely mistaken, you could also temper golem damage on your amulet. You could! Woo! Could you do golem damage on your rings as well? Kind of don't have that in my mind right now. You could! Woo! And then, you know what? You could temper golem damage as well on... Yes, you guessed right. On the other ring too! Yeah. So that's kind of cool. Oh, and on the helmet, you would have to get blood getters to actually heal yourself. It's kind of like cool. Because that one heals you, and then heals your minions, and then it's kind of like cool. So yeah, you have like here intelligence, life. But couldn't the helmet have a different... Helmet could have technically ranks and curse skills, which is actually damage reduction. I mean, you do need cooldown, so this is very important, right? You need cooldown reduction here, and you need cooldown reduction there, because cooldown reduction is king. And I don't think actually, like, rings can have cooldown reduction now. They can only have critical strike damage, and then critical strike damage. And you probably can have critical strike chance too, so you just have more critical strike on everything. But then you have cooldown reduction, and then you guess right, Chad. You have intelligence, and you guess right, you also have maximum life. Woo! it comes down to the same again. And then if you want to, you can just temper more maximum life. And then you could go for decrepify size, because it's kind of like sad that you actually only can do decrepify size. I don't think you can do crippling darkness. Could you do crippling darkness? Oh, you can actually do crippling darkness on the helmet as well. Interesting. We'll probably do that. I'm a huge fan of crippling darkness on everything, because the skill is kind of funny. Like, right, if you get all these ranks bonus on crippling darkness, you'll be like a very big mini later that actually has a lucky hit chance here. Darkness skills have up to a 15% chance to stun for 4 seconds. So like more ranks into this skill stuns more. So the more footwork, more energy, more stuns, more everything. On your rings, you would go currently for grasping veins, and then we would go for reanimation. I'm currently trying to, oh, we have to do a different ring, like a circle. Oops. Like I'm trying to build most builds with the minimal amount of uniques, golem cooldown reduction. And yes, you can reduce the golem skill by another 50%, chat, because why would you not remove the golem's skill by another 50%? That would be crazy if you wouldn't do that. I mean, like just shave off 50%. What's the hisla hassle? What's the dilly dally? Like, imagine like the cooldown of golem is just 40 seconds. And then your amulet would be unyielding commander. And your thing would be golem mastery, because that actually master. You don't have that here, but you do have hellbound commander, and then you would have to add golem mastery. Can you do golem cooldown reduction? You can do golem cooldown reduction here as well. That's a little bit of a scam that you can actually do that so many times. Jesus Christ. And everything. I'll probably go for ultimate cooldown reduction instead of golem there, though. Because then you could get another 10% cooldown reduction. That would be 10 aid, right? And you could actually masterwork that. Well, so that goes up to 14. So you get like 11, and you get another 11%. That's actually a really good thing to have ultimate cooldown reduction on that one. Interesting. Don't you have unyielding commander on the weapon? No, on the weapon, we have Shadow Blight key passive aspect, because that's a 240% increase, while unyielding commander is 150% increase, and you're essentially going to try to get this as low as possible. We get like here, unyielding commander, and then you have the golem mastery and everything, and then you have the golem damage, get even more golem damage and minion attack speed, and then corpse tendril size. And on the boots, you would go for, you guessed right, movement speed. No. You guessed right, movement speed. You could actually go for corpse skills too, but it's kind of like useless, which is the sad part. You probably end up with resistance to elements, but you go for intelligence and then maximum life, and you guessed right, movement speed. So it's actually really boring from a stat perspective. It's really boring from a stat perspective. I'm not happy about this. But that should be it for the Necromancer mostly. To then be playing, obviously, like our beautiful Reapers, right? Reapers for cooldown reduction in this build, mages for shadow magening, and the golem for blood goleming for maximum damage. Probably. It's kind of like the Necromancer. You're not going to need resistances at all. You're a Necromancer. Necromancers do, like, I have intelligence on every piece of gear. So right now, if we're looking at this Necro here, let's log out. Getting resistance on gear is always useless, at least as a Necro. I don't know how other classes are, but other classes sting probably, so sorry. But that's what it is. I mean, first and foremost, diamonds get buffed. So diamonds are currently a girl's best friend, and they're also currently a 6% resistance to all elements. I think they actually hired that 6% too, because right now the diamond in this one is only 5%. I think they hired that to another 7 or 8% because they promised to hire this. The resistance to all elements on the amulet is higher in general. I mean, you can just get your resistances super easily maxed out with a Paragon board, especially as you boost your intelligence. I mean, I'm currently at 300 int and my resistances are shit, right? Because I'm at 300 int only. But you can easily get, with all the intelligence that you put on gear, and when you masterwork it, I'm already at 849 int. Okay, so with the int that I have on gear, non-masterworked, 849. That is the base, without a single point in the Paragon board. And if I, like, here, that's another, right? This is another 6%. This is another 1.5%. This is another one. So getting the resistance up is the easiest thing in the world. I mean, right? You just go for that. And then, like, you pick up more int, and every point of more int is also, I mean, if you go for the moth here, so increases skill by and increases resistance to elements by 8.5%. So 300 is 8.5%. 600 would be all resistance, then 17%. If I have 900, right, you triple this. If I have 1,200, you take this times 4 times. So I could easily get 1,200 int. And then I already have 4 times the amount of resistance to all elements base. And with 300 int, right, you know, right, I'm like at 6% resistance here without anything. So like times 4, I would be already 24% on everything without actually having looked in my Paragon board even further. Right? Are they getting rid of Renown? I mean, Renown, Renown is already gone. Renown exists for new players. Renown doesn't exist anymore. I mean, you can grind Renown if you want to, why ever you would want to grind Renown. So yeah.
La, 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 la.
I mean, then for Barbarian, it is Dust Devils. And I would assume that they're just going to be taking probably the most popular Dust Devil build and just take it. Right? So you're going to have like, you're going to have your thing. And by the way, one very good thing, Chad. I have good news for you. They literally said that they have a problem balancing the Barbarian because he has 4 weapons. Okay? They said it. They're like, sorry. We struggle really, really with the Barbarian because he's like a little bit too heavy for us, right? Like we can't balance this. There's too much going on. And thank you for doing that, because, like, you know, we know that you suck at balancing this, right? We know that you stink. But yeah. So you get like fierce winds for Dust Devils, right? You got the Earthquake thingy. You get the devilish aspect here on another axe. Because it's kind of like Sorcerer build will do Sorcerer build too. So everyone will start with 11 points. You will start with 11 points in your skills if you have Renown done. I mean, if you have never done Renown before, if you have never finished the Renown on any character ever, then no, sir, you will not start with a bonus 10 points. So you better get that Renown done. And the Altars of Lilith. I mean, I had someone telling me that Altars of Lilith are not needed. And I was like, what's wrong with you? I hate you and I hope you die. No, sorry, but seriously, like someone literally said the Altars of Lilith are unnecessary. where the Altars of Lilith are literally like free stat points. Like, in case you didn't know this, but the Altars of Lilith all around the map, they actually provide 5 dex, 5 int, 5 dex, 5 int, and so on. There's even Altars of Lilith, I think, that provide 5 Paragon points in total. The thing about Barb is, I mean, Barb at this point has 2 passives, okay? So every single class has 1 passive. We have, well, Necromancer has the Book of the Dead that essentially includes the Golem. And the Golem is a complete fucking skill, right? Which is a joke, because I'm losing a skill slot for using my passive. And the Barbarian has 4 weapons, and then it has his mastery on top. Right? Like on top of having like this thingy going on, you just have like the thingy too. And you're kind of like, oh, okay, but what? Why? Uncool. Oh, by the way, we put the aspects wrong. Oops. Oops. I put the aspect wrong because I wanted to have the devilish aspect here. And then this would not have the devilish aspect. This would have the inner calm. I mean, we're in a world where aspects are like the most important thing in the world, right? Where in a game where aspects are everything, right? And then you give one class 4 of them. How did you ever think that this was like? How did Blizzard ever think that's a thing, right? I mean, it's like pissing in the face of every other class, because I would really like to have more aspects as well. I mean, do you know what I could do with my Necro if you give me another 2 aspects? I think the easiest way to fix this, chat. You want to know what the easiest way to fix the problem with Barb? You just give Necromancer a belt aspect. A belt or shoulders. Thank you. And Sork too. Right? I mean, like, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 weapons. Hey, give me a belt or shoulder aspect. Thank you. I that's enough. I would already be happy. Ladies and gentlemen. When is season 4 coming? Tomorrow. You can just make Barb weapon aspects only work when he's wielding the weapons to use the skill. I guess that would completely ruin the Barbarian. See, the thing is that as much as I would like to see the Barbarian completely in the ground, I mean, that's kind of like the Barb with the 4 weapons and having all the aspects working and like kind of doing that. And if you actually... yeah. If you take that away from them, it kind of feels like the whole class is not worth it to play anymore. Right? And it's kind of the appeal of the Barbarian that he has what he has. But does he really need it? Like I mean, you take that away and then why even play Barbarian? 100% of the wielded and 50% from the other 3. Yeah, I mean, you could halve it. You could probably 25% it. But the problem is if you halve the effects already, like you're not really playing it for the damage, right? So for example, the main weapon, your Dust Devils are 40% bigger and deal 1% increased damage. Like, how are you going to have that? You're going to say your shout skill create 5 dust devils. This is then only 2.5 dust devils, right? I mean, the main reason you're using dust devils is because you can make so many dust devils, right? 2. Not necessarily for the bonus damage. I mean, the bonus damage is nice, don't get me wrong, but the damage scales up anyways. But if you now make the effectiveness then lower, like, are you going to lower the amount of dust devils or just lower the damage? But then it still gets the amount of dust devils, right? And the same goes after generating 100 Fury, your next direct damage creates 3 Dust Devils. So then you're kind of like, okay, so I'm going to be, like, is it what now? Is it now 200 Fury for 3 Dust Devils? Or is it 100 Fury for 1.5 Dust Devils? Or is it still 100 Fury, 3 Dust Devils, and then only half the damage? That's not the point. So, like the main thing is, I do believe that nerfing the barb is never the answer. It seems a bit weird as someone who thinks barb is obviously completely overpowered. But I think that nerfing the barb is completely not what we're looking for. By the way, the temperings are insane for barb. I mean, you have your shout skills create dust devils, right? And then, chance for dust devil projectiles to cast twice. Cool. I'll do that. Oh yeah, guess what? Now, now you could essentially, right? Go for your other weapon, right? And then you have the chance for Dust Devils now to cast twice, which is kind of nice. Oh, and then on the other tempering, you can go Dust Devil Size. Whee! Even though the Dust Devil Size got nerfed. Okay. But you know what the interesting part is? Since you have a 45% here, right? You can go on your other weapon and you can go chance for Dust Devil projectiles to cast twice. Oh yeah, if we 12 times masterwork this now, that's 32%. And if I 12 times masterwork that, it's 65%. So 65% plus 32% is how much percent? Not 100%. Kind of sad. Pretty fucking weak, to be honest. Like... So, yes, exactly. It's like, don't nerf barb. It's useless. You cannot nerf the barb anymore. Because if you nerf the barb, you ruin the class. But what they should do is, they should get everyone closer to Barbarian. But just to walk you through the Barbarian quickly, how does the Dust Devil thing actually work? So we have the Shout skill that creates Dust Devils, right? Then we're going to be using Fury to make more Dust Devils. We have Inner Calm increasing our damage when we stand still, as we're just going around, right? And Dust Deviling. Then we are essentially getting... Fortify when we generate Fury, which is kind of like cool. We get a little bit more armor, and I'm not actually sure if I do like the Juggernaut aspect still, because I think you can get the armor there. But the Juggernaut aspect is just an easy out. Like, you take this, right? Juggernaut, and you're done. That's it. You don't have to worry about armor ever again. Then we're creating Earthquakes, and we get more damage reduction, which is kind of cool. Right? We get our Berserking up. We're going to have Double Swing creates Dust Devils too. And then damage to enemies, triple the amount of Dust Devils created if Double Swing is cast twice within 2 seconds. So, casting Dust Devils, Double Swing creates a Dust Devil, okay? Triple the amount of Dust Devils created if Double Swing is cast twice within 2 seconds. Cool. Like, just do that, right? Then reduce the cooldown of your shouts. So you can shout more, and then you shout more and make Dust Devils, and then you double swing to make more Dust Devils, and then you generate Fury, and then you make more Dust Devils, and then you double swing, and then more Dust Devils, and then you Dust Devil, and then Dust Devils. I think Dust Devil is the best barb build. That's not the question, because again, Blizzard is offering gear during the season for these builds. So the Pulverize Druid is getting free gear. The Minion Necromancer is getting free gear, and the Dust Devil Barbarian is also getting free gear. So you can be sure that you will probably get this aspect, that aspect, this aspect, and potentially some of the other aspects. You can expect to get them from the seasonal journey. The same goes for Necro. We'll definitely get the Skeletal Priest empowering aspect. We'll definitely get the Armor of the Dead aspect. We'll definitely get Reanimation. We'll definitely get Frenzied Dead. We'll definitely get Hardened Bones. So all of these we'll essentially get for free. Like, right, we get them from the seasonal journey. The same goes for the Druid. We'll 100% get the Pulverize aspect from the seasonal journey. And if you get the Pulverize aspect from the seasonal journey, you have it and you have the main aspect. And that's great. So also the pro and contra of Barb versus Necromancer. Well, you could either play the coolest class in the game, Necromancer, or you could play some really loser class with 4 weapons that's overpowered. Yeah. No offense to the Barb players out there. But just saying. Also, Mr. Boot King, thank you for the 5 months of support. Welcome to the Knights of the Round Table. I hope you're all excited for Season 4 chat. I am positively looking forward to it. And it's really fun to, like, just try to understand how other classes work. Because right now, I want to do the Rogue Barrage build, and I literally have no clue how Rogue works. So what I'm going to do is we're going to open the Rogue Planner, and I just literally want to know, how does a Barrage Rogue actually work, right? How does it work? I played Rogue right now, 2 level 60, and I forgot everything. But I liked the Barrage skill, and I liked Penetrating Shot. So Rapid Fire main, like Rapid Fire and Barrage was kind of fun, and then I used the arrows too. So I essentially played Rogue like kind of on ranged as much as I could, with Rain of Arrows even, because I'm weird, you know? So Barrage was Unleash Barrage that expands outwards, dealing damage. Oh, doesn't Barrage just have a new unique? So let's Google now a Season 4 Barrage Rogue. See, there's a Poison Barrage Rogue. That sounds brilliant, doesn't it, Chad? So let's look at the gear that you would need for that and how that would essentially do the do. Don't we have like temperings that are absolutely mental for Barrage? Chance for Barrage projectiles to cast twice. Really? Really? You can do that? You're going to go for a bow, you have temperings, and then you have Barrage, and then you can just cast twice. Why is the chance so high on everything? Especially because, surprisingly or unsurprisingly, right? How many weapons does a rogue have, Chad? Huh? Chad, how many weapons does a rogue have? Oh yeah, a rogue has 3 weapons too. And I would assume that they're all active at the same time as well, right? So you have Barrage projectiles cast twice, 17% and 35%. But the very good thing is that you can do it on the other bone blade too, right? So you get Barrage, and then we get 17, 17, and 17. And if we masterwork this, we end up at 25%. So you have 25, 25, and surprisingly or unsurprisingly, 50%. So you essentially have a chance for Barrage projectiles to cast twice of, you guessed right, 100%. How high can we go as a Necromancer? So if you make a one-handed weapon instead of a two-handed weapon, I could go for a, like, let's just go for a scythe, right? One-handed scythe. We have, well, sorry, that was not meant to go there. That was twice. So we have chance for Bone Splinters to cast twice, chance for Bone Spear to cast twice. So if I want my Bone Spear to cast twice, right? I have 17.5%, which I can masterwork to 25%. And then I can take my offhand, which is a focus, and I could go for twice as well. And I can't even temper anything twice. Whoops. So I could go for Bone Spear to cast twice as well, right? And that would be another 12. So I would have a 50% chance for it to cast twice. Where's my 100%? I mean, sure, we could masterwork this 3 times to go up to 38%, right? But where's my 100%? I'm not asking for much. I just want to be able to 100% things, okay? Listen, I'm a simple man, and I just want that. Without greater affix and everything, just straight out of the room. But what is this robbery here, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, we have imbuement skills do vulnerable enemies. Okay, so imbuement skills 80% bonus damage to those vulnerable enemies. That's kind of nice. Nice. You would actually play that aspect. That's crazy. I would never assume that the aspect of retribution would ever be played. Distant enemies have a chance to be stunned for 2 seconds when they hit you. You deal 30% increased damage to stunned or knocked down enemies. Oh yeah, you can actually stun enemies and knock them down really easily with Rogue. Can you not? That makes sense. And this is how you apply vulnerable? Really? That's so cool. With, what was it called again? The aspect of a cursed touch. A cursed touch might be my single-handed favorite aspect because it's chance for your skills to inflict vampiric curse on enemies, and when they're vampiric curse, they're vulnerable. This is literally the easiest way to make things vulnerable, right? Like not even a question. And there is a barrage aspect of the breaching volleys to have your barrage arrows pierce through enemies, right? And then you have them also be able to ricochet. Scam, absolute scam. I think I will most likely play a rogue this season. So in case you wonder, chat, why are we even doing all these builds? Because this season is probably the first season where I'll have a character of every single class but Barbarian, because I find that class so boring. How viable do you think Rogue is in Hardcore this season? Well, I think every class is very viable in Hardcore, especially now Rogue. You're going to play Ranged Rogue, or a lot of people are going to play Ranged Rogue, right? End of the day, you don't have cheat death elixirs in Hardcore anymore. You don't have a scroll. Do you have the scroll of teleport too? I don't know if you have the scroll of teleport left, but you don't have your cheat death elixir. So good luck with Hardcore. But honestly, don't ask me about Hardcore because I don't play it. Okay. How busted will the expansion class be? I mean, we're assuming that they learned from the character creation now and the expansion class is not busted. Then again, who remembers when Necromancer was added to the game in, what was it, Diablo 3? Where the Necromancer was added later and then the Necromancer was completely OP in Diablo 3. Well, so the assumption is that whatever the expansion class is going to be, okay? Whatever it's going to be broken. Correct? Because how is it not going to be broken? Like seriously. It's just 100% going to be broken. Unquestionable. I wish it wasn't, right? But like, yeah. How likely is it that it's not? How likely is it that the class will not just simply be something completely out of the world? So people actually buy the expansion, right? Because that's the problem. They want people to buy the expansion. They want people to get the expansion. So how we're going to get people to buy the expansion and get the expansion? We're going to make a class that's broken. You have an 8% increased dodge chance. Successful dodge restore 20% of your life. That's so cool. But there's two of these. So there's the dodge chance with the healing, and there's the dodge chance with the fortify, if I'm not mistaken. So you could actually fortify, which is as well interesting when you dodge fortify for 10% of your maximum life, because fortify is now 15% damage reduction. So healing is nice, but having a damage reduction is better because then you take, surprisingly, less damage. By the way, I've never considered this, right? Because I find this skill useless as a Necromancer. But Undying is so good for rogues. Chat, I have not played rogue in a while, but Undying is so good for a rogue. And by the way, if you get Fortify when you're dodging, correct? You get Fortify for dodging. So the tempering on rogue is, oh yeah, dodge chance. So that's another 7%. And if we want masterwork, it's 10%, correct? So you get 10% dodge chance there. We get 8% dodge chance. So that's already 18. Oh, then guess right. We can temper dodge chance here as well. And then if we want to temper, I think we can temper dodge chance probably on the boots too, right? No, we can't temper dodge chance on the boots. Robbery. There's a 911 robbery happening. But you could go for movement speed. Yeah. So like you just get your dodge chance up nicely. That's cool. That's very cool. So you get the chance to cast twice, but what's the other? Just damage boost? Really? You can just get so much damage? Just an overall flat damage boost is possible, right? Yeah. So just 90% bonus damage. No way. You just do that? Isn't that a bit illegal? Because you essentially have like you have here 90 bonus damage, right? So chance to cast twice, 90% bonus damage. Then you have a second weapon with, you guessed right, Chad, bonus damage. and last but not least, you have a third weapon with, you guessed right, bonus damage. Why am I feeling so inadequate as a Necro? See, this is the reason why I don't play other classes. That's the only reason, so I don't have to see this shit. You start Necro tomorrow? Oh, I will 100% start a Necro tomorrow. This is the reason why I don't look at other classes, because this makes me just salty and sad that I exist. I mean, at least I have my cool things right now going on, correct? But yeah, it's a bit boring though. Just damage. Like again, well, I did put golem damage on everything, I guess. So I'm easily there. The thing is, I don't understand Rogue correctly yet. So you have your imbuement skills have more damage against vulnerable, correct? Then distant enemies take 30% bonus damage when they're stunned. You make them vulnerable. You have barrage pierce and give you movement speed. Then you have barrage, have a chance to ricochet. You have a lucky hit, critical strikes with marksman skills have a 90% chance against free dark shroud. That's cool. Then you have chilled enemies poisoned by poison imbuement will be further chilled until they're frozen. And if they're frozen, they take more damage. So you're essentially staggering things. Damage increase, then poison have a chance to create a toxic pool that deals damage. And while stunning the pool, your poison imbuement skill has no cooldown, no charge limit. That's cool. Then you fortify and you heal. That sounds super fun. That sounds like a very, very fun rogue to play. The question rather is, if the rogue is barrage though, does it be the poison barrage? What I would ask myself is, chat, do you think they asked the creators? Because Blizzard has a bunch of Diablo partners, okay? So if we now have a Dust Devil Barbarian here, and we have a pulverized Druid and a Sorg and a Rogue, do you think they did ask the creators, or do you think they just went like blah? Because you're getting for these builds, you're getting the things for free, right? The items for free. But did they actually ask the creators? Or did they just wing it? Probably they just winged it, right? And the last thing that we have is an incinerate sword. But what for skills does incinerate even have? So what do you have like for temperings for incinerate? Incinerate size. Is there a video of incinerate size increase? Because I would wonder, how big is incinerate now? I mean, is it just size? Is there a video on incinerate Sorg? Oh, like Anna made one. Let me see. I want to see, like, does she have gameplay? How big it gets? Sadly, no gameplay. Oh no, there's gameplay. See, this is the things I want to see, Chad. Whee! You do hydras and then you incinerate things. Then you do hydras and until everything dies. Oh yeah, and then probably you have your lightning bolt flying around you too, right? It goes with a firewall and splits into 3. But I don't see a firewall. It goes through the Hydra and splits into 3 right now. Or am I just blind? Yeah, this is just splits into 3. Okay, well let me see. What do you do with incinerate now? Oh wow, that's great. Okay, so you need a wait. That creates an interesting question. So there's a very cool weapon. It's called Flame Scar, okay? But if Flame Scar is a thing, while channeling Incinerate, you periodically shoot embers that are attracted to enemies, each dealing fire damage, okay? And this has +5 ranks to Incinerate, which is like, fuck me sideways, okay? But if that is a thing, okay, if that unique item is a thing, will we get a unique from the seasonal journey? Blizzard would never do this, right? If the incinerate sorceress is the main theme for Sorg, is there a chance you would actually get that? Probably not, right? So there is, by the way, incinerate splits into 3 beams, each dealing 85% of normal damage. Ha-ha. Ha-ha. Done. Incinerate. How do you write that? Jesus. Writing incinerate is really complicated because I don't know how to write incinerate. Wow, there's really no, like, not many actual Sorcerer players out there, I have to say. You know? Interesting. So you get that incinerate, then you have Tarasha's loop, so you'd still do for each elemental type, and then you would essentially like add like the lightning spear to this, okay? But you would probably still have to play Raiment of the Infinite. So like no matter what you play, the Sorc is like kind of always the same to a degree, right? And then you have a ring with incinerate too. Just like trying to understand. No, not blue rose. Not blue rose. How does incinerate actually work? So there's incinerate. So while channeling incinerate, your burning damage is increased by 40%. Enemies damaged by incinerate explode, burning all surrounding enemies for over 3 seconds. That's so cool. What for temperings do you have? Tempering. Sorcerer tempering. So frozen bolt, frost orb, ice shards, blizzard size, firebolt, fireball, incinerate size. That's so useless, kind of. It's kind of like bad. Hydro damage you can increase. Cold damage, normal damage, frozen blizzard damage. You can probably do more damage to fire thingies. Yeah, fire damage, damage over time. And then, yeah, okay, so you can just increase fire damage. Interesting. They should have gone for Blizzard. It's the only build that doesn't require uniques. Yeah, it's kind of like sad when I see that like there is the unique one Flame Scar, which gives the most ranks to Incinerate and everything. And you're like, okay, so if I'm playing Incinerate, I kind of want this item. Like it's kind of like almost mandatory, right? This kind of feels a bit like, but what if I don't want that? That has me like really sad. Yeah, but you would essentially temper fire damage, fire damage, fire damage, and then you would temper fire damage and fire damage. Huh. Interesting. That is the most boring. I would rather play Barbarian. Oh god, I said it, chat. I said it. I would rather play Barbarian. Incinerate just seems so uninspired. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm surprised they didn't do Frozen Orb. They were pushing the archetype so hard, Hooper, that it seems like weird, truly, that they didn't go for Frozen Orb right now. Yes. You might place the serpent aspect. Yeah, what I'm asking myself is why wouldn't I put the split beam aspect on a 200 weapon? What happens when I do that? How does it work? So we're taking a weapon and you put the incinerate. I mean, wouldn't that be way cooler? When incinerate splits into 3 beams, each dealing 170% of normal damage, and you just, instead of 85% of normal damage, you just double the damage and everything just does more. Wouldn't that be making more sense in total? Right? More damage to vulnerable when we have barrier, and we always have barrier because we're Sorg. Sorgs always have barrier, right? Weird. It's funny how every single build ends up playing T-Walt's Will in the end. Frozen Orb is not viable since it requires unique to function properly. Every build in the caches works without uniques. True. You're right about that. Technically saying though that Necromancer wants to have the Ring of Mendeln. I mean, it would be cool if they would actually give you one of these signature uniques, right? Necro is technically Ring of Mendeln. Pulverize would be the chest. Sork would be the one hand there. I mean, Barbarian doesn't have a unique that it actually has for this. Rogue doesn't have a unique like weapon that it kind of needs. So, but it would still be cool to get like one unique for free. We had a nice Father's and Mother's Day. Yes. I mean, we mainly had our daughter's birthday on Saturday. So she's 5 now. We made it, chat. That's good. Really? Yeah, I have to say, like, Sork seems the most uninspired. That being said, like, Blizzard, I mean, it's not like Blizzard is a very inspired build, right? I mean, Blizzard is just literally running around and spamming Blizzard. So I guess the Incinerate is a bit more active build. I did enjoy leveling my Blizzard character. But there's a reason I don't play much Sork because, well, I mean, Sork is just like, right? You just do teleport, Blizzard, Frost Nova, Flame Shield, Blizzard, dash, teleport, Blizzard, Blizzard, deep freeze, teleport, Blizzard. Oh, lightning in between. Sorry, I forgot lightning. Blizzard. I still did enjoy Sork, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest rogue Sork fan in Diablo in total. I actually never been, right? Sork has never like inspired me much. Also, teleporting is cheating. I guess this brings out like the salty Necromancer again, because if you're looking at a Sork just being able to do something like here something like this, and you know, when I'm a Necro I just have to walk around the whole thing, and that's a minimal gap, right? That like you have like all these gaps that the Sork can essentially just teleport up wherever they want and wherever they want to go, and you're just like, but I need to walk around this right now because I'm a filthy Necro and I can't just press the button to just skip everything. Right? But yeah, so we get the rogue, we get the barb, we get the necro, and we get the druid. And don't worry, all of these, so all these builds, I will provide links to you, with you to all of this tomorrow. So there will be a whole video tomorrow where I go in depth in every build with the skill tree and the Paragon board. And I'll be having everything for you. But right now I just wanted to understand every single build. For my personal preparation, if you want to know what build we're running, we're probably going to be running the this one. This is a Sever Necro. That's essentially using Sever together with the Golem, the Army of the Dead, the Corpse Tunnels, and the Corpse Explosion. And it's just not using any kind of curse. It's not using Blood Mist because curses are useless while leveling. I don't know why people tell you to use a curse. It's bullshit. So we're just gonna be blasting damage and we're just gonna have fun. So that whole build we have for you already out. But that's my personal level build, and I anticipate to take like, I mean, anything around like maximum 10 hours to level 100 maximum. Kratos, thank you for the 42 months of support. Kratos, very good to see you there. How is Druid going to be going in season 4? Druid is actually really interesting. So pulverize is still working, and we figured out that pulverize is actually insane because we can get so much life and so much overpower that it would be crazy. The thought is that like companion druid is insane, rabies, like any kind of werewolf druid is going to be doing good. There's hurricane, there's landslide, trample slide. Like druid has, I think, like 6, 7, 8 different builds that are fun to play. That's cool. Thoughts on Bone Spear, Necro? I mean, if you want to play Bone Spear still after all these seasons, go for it. Bone Spear is still strong. Bone Spear is still fun. Shadow will be better. But Bone Spear is going fantastic. And you can scale the Bone Spear damage up nicely because Bone Spear works with crit. And you can have critical strike damage here very high, critical strike damage here very high. And if you're looking for the temperings right now, I mean, I have 105% golem damage, okay? But I can go for bone critical strike damage 85%. Okay? That means that on my rings, I can do another 170%, or with masterworking, 200% critical strike chance. I can do on my weapon another bone critical strike damage of 200%. So that's another 400%. And then I can go on my gloves again and go another 100%. So I can do 500% bone on my amulet as well. So I can do another 600% critical strike chance. And my Necros usually end up with, I don't know what this, like, they're all weird. They're all weird faces currently because I reskilled them multiple times. So they end up like with over 1,000% critical strike chance, or around 1,000% critical strike chance. And then on the Necro, so I just counted 600% critical strike damage, okay? So on the Necro, you have the Amulet of Grasping Veins, which gives you another 40%. And actually, Grasping Veins get improved, right? Grasping Veins is now 50%. So yeah, you get another 50% multiplier on your 1,600%. And then on your 1,600%, you not only get another 50% multiplier, right? You get the 30% multiplier here from the next critical strike. So yeah. Oh, and the interesting part is, so the more critical strike chance multiplier you have, okay, if you're then actually going for Deathless Visage, because the item called Deathless Visage gives you Bone Spear leaves behind blah, you have damage, and that damage is increased by 5% for every 30% of your critical strike damage bonus. So usually we're running around, let's say, with a 900% critical strike damage bonus. But if we can now go up to 1,600 or even 1,800% and then multiply that up, you're essentially doubling already the damage of your Deathless Visage, which is already insane damage anyways, and then it goes even further. Yay! Can I have a Hail Mary in the chat? Because it will still be good. Everything will still be good. Nothing will be bad. Everything will be good. The question rather is, how deep can you go in the pit? Because the pit now has 200 levels that are hard, finally. I mean, the first 100 levels are going to be easy. So first 100 levels of the pit are still a joke. But afterwards, 150 and beyond is supposedly having minions or enemies with a lot of HP, where we then also need the damage tripping. Because you now want to say, like, okay, I don't need 50 million crits. I don't need 100 million crits. The answer is you do. You do need that. You don't need this for any content right now in the game. So 100 million crit is going to one-hit Lilith, right? 100 million crit is going to kill everything. So you don't need that amount of damage yet in the game currently at all, for nothing. Like, it's unnecessary. But with then the pit and the very high amount of HP on the mobs and everything, that's when you then want to go lower, that your golem dealing 1 billion damage, for example, is quite going to be good and quite going to be interesting. I just want a tanky minion build that can do all the content. Well, you do have the tanky minion builds that can do all the content because we've already done this. So we have cleared the tier 200 pit with this build. Then we have cleared the tier 200 build with this build. Then the Eben Piercer has cleared a tier 200 pit as well. So they exist already. Not the new pit though, because there's again the new pit now. But we will have tanky minion builds that can clear everything. Right now we did focus on leveling though. And then when we get to 100, we'll get you all the endgame builds too. Any good archer build that we would recommend? Well, we went through the barrage build to see how barrage will be working. So yes, barrage is a thing, and we'll be having, again, all the guides up tomorrow. Okay, so this was today for me as like an orientation, so I could like check out what are going to be the top 5 builds, you know, because Blizzard is going to give you the equipment for all these builds. Again, this is the interesting part. This is for all 5 builds. Now that was our preliminary orientation to kind of go through all of them. Again, links will be added to everything in you know, tonight. But I would say now we're gonna go to play some stuff. So we're gonna turn YouTube off for now. Where's YouTube actually? I lost YouTube. YouTube, I lost you. I'm gonna have to turn you off. And we'll continue streaming though and gaming. And on Twitch, we'll continue. So YouTube,